What's up, brothers? Hope everybody's doing well out there. In tonight's video, I want to talk about a subject that is unequivocally the most effective dating strategy for all of you short-term maters out there. And what do I mean by short-term maters? I mean all of you fellas out there that don't really intend on taking a relationship beyond the 6-month mark, if you know what I mean. You're not looking to cohabitate. You're not looking to get married, settle down, move in together, have kids. You're just looking to have a little bit of fun with as many women as possible. And I also just want to shoot the shit with you guys because it's been a couple of weeks. It's about 30 degrees out here, but I think I can handle it. But anyways, there's something about this subject that you also need to know. And that is that if you are looking for a long-term relationship, it's a very destructive strategy and it's not very sustainable. So keep that in mind. Now, this subject that I'm talking about here, I'm sure you heard the term before. It's one of the most popular subjects going around the manosphere right now, and that is pre-selection. Let me give you an example of pre-selection. An example of pre-selection would be the amount of money you make, your physique, the car you drive, your social circle, your job title. But most importantly, the biggest example of pre-selection would be allowing women to see you with other women. So for example, maybe you take pictures of yourself with one girl and you put it on Instagram. Then you go out with another one, taking shots at the bar, you take pictures, you put that on Instagram. Then you go out with another one, you go to the beach, you take pictures there and you put that on Instagram. Then you're with a group of girls at a nightclub, you take a picture of that and put it on Instagram. And when you meet women, you give them your Instagram. So they can browse through and they can see, wow, this guy is really popular with the ladies. This is a guy that other women are choosing. There must be something about this guy that I need to try. Now, everything I just said there is 100% factual, and it is the most effective way to get yourself laid, aside from being handsome. But you don't have much control over that part, so when we're just talking about strategy here, it is a very effective strategy to get you laid. But I want to share my experience with pre-selection and give you guys a little bit of insight. Not necessarily advice. I'm not necessarily telling you what you should or should not do. I'm just going to tell you a little story and tell you my experience with pre-selection. Now, when I met my ex-girlfriend, hold on, before we get into that, let me put it like this. Pre-selection is kind of like optimizing hypergamy. Pre-selection is at least creating a perception of you being at the top of the hierarchy. Whether you're there or not, it's a perception of you being there. But you also want to think about one thing, and that is that when you're at the top, you attract a lot of people. You attract all the gold diggers, all the users, all the clout chasers, all the narcissists, all the abusers. You attract all those. But sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to find out who's really in your corner, if you know what I mean. And I'm not saying there's good girls and there's bad girls, because they're all capable of good and they're all capable of bad. But it is a fact that some women are just more loyal than others. And if you're looking for a long-term relationship, loyalty is number one. And pre-selection ain't gonna bring out loyalty, I'll tell you that much. Now, anyways, back to where I was going before we went off on that rail. When I met my ex, when I was 21 years old, one of my exes, 21 years old, had an okay job, good job for a 21-year-old, but not great. Anyways, we got together. We had a really good relationship. But during this relationship, we decided to go back to college. I decided to get my ass back in the gym. I decided to increase the amount of money I was making. I decided to, instead of walking around at 15-16% body fat, I was going to walk around at 7 or 8% body fat with ripped abs, drive a nicer car, dress a little better. I was improving myself, right? And this girl who was extremely loyal to me, fiercely loyal, we had a great relationship. When she saw me improving and she saw other women expressing interest in me, she had a meltdown. It was obvious that she couldn't handle it. And I think in a relationship that's normal, and you're going to experience that sort of thing. But the point that I'm trying to make is, in that long-term relationship, when I wasn't so wanted by all the women, she felt comfortable, she felt secure, she felt like I was the type of man she could marry and have a family with. But once I became what the manosphere considers like an alpha, I guess I was before that, but now I had the image, the perception of that, she didn't like it very much. She thought I was like showing off or something, showing out. She always thought I was cheating on her. And I guess looking back, it kind of did look like I was sometimes. There was a lot of girls coming after me at that period in time. So anyways, that is what drove us apart, because there was no way I was going to stop improving. There was no way the trajectory of my life was going to change. I was just going to keep doing what I was doing. And sure, it drove our relationship into the ground. There was no amount of flowers being bought, sex being had, compliments being given that could have fixed that relationship, because you just can't do it. You just can't do it. When somebody feels like they're not good enough for you anymore, it's not going to work. And that is what it is. So that's my experience in a long-term relationship with pre-selection. As I was being pre-selected, as I was being selected by other women, the woman I was in a long-term relationship with ended up being, in a way, repelled by this, or hurt by this, you could say. But, like I said, I wasn't going to change the trajectory of my life. We split up. I was 29 years old, and I'm out and about, I'm living life, and I'm hooking up with women left and right. I'm making more money than ever. I'm in better shape than ever. Everything's just going great in my life. I'm hooking up with all kinds of women. But I can tell you one thing, when you're living that sort of a life, something doesn't feel right. The women that you're dealing with, they don't really seem to care too much about you. It's obvious. It's painfully obvious that they're turned on by you, but they don't seem to. It's like they have no soul. It's like there's no soul in that relationship. They're just with you because you have some status going on for yourself. And it's kind of hard to explain these things, but if you've been in this situation, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of like these Hollywood relationships. Right now, everybody's talking about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. A year from now, if you watch this video, they probably won't even be together anymore. But you can tell there's really no love in those relationships, right? It's just this status-driven, bullshit, weird concept. It's like gold diggers and clout chasers and all that type of shit. But that's what pre-selection gets you. And that's something that a lot of these guys leave out. People living in Miami or Las Vegas, New York, Los Angeles. I don't know if you've ever been to one of those cities, if you're from one of those cities, but I've visited quite a few times, and not a whole lot of soul going on there. I'm from the Midwest. People in the Midwest, women are in the kitchen cooking. Men are outside working. Men and women just kind of understand the natural way to love each other, and it's wholesome. When you go to these big cities where it's all fast paced, not a whole lot of love. It's all status driven. It's all about being in the VIP. It's all about the perception, your image. So it is all about pre-selection in those areas, but look how high the divorce rates are. It's pretty obvious. Now, again, if you're just looking to hook up, you're just looking to have a little bit of fun in some relationships, of course, it's a very effective strategy. But if you want a long-term relationship, you got to build that shit in a brick house. It can't be built on pre-selection. You got to take the time to get to know each other. 9 times out of 10, you got to incorporate a religion into that relationship as well. And I'm not bullshitting. I don't care what religion it is, but if you put God first and the two of you worship God together, the relationship is destined to last. And a lot of people say like the God pill is bullshit. I'm calling cap on that one. I'd love to see the percentages of divorce rates between atheists and believers, but we won't get into that. I'm not trying to go down that road right now. But with that being said, one of my best friends, I guess I'll continue with the storytelling. Maybe not best friends. He was kind of like a tier below best friends. We were good friends, but not best friends. In high school and around 19, 20 years old, he decided to move to Vegas. And he started himself a marble countertop company. And it took off. Out there in Vegas, marble countertops will make you a lot of money. Especially if you're working with, upper class clientele. Celebrities, lawyers, millionaires and up. So he was making a lot of money. But he didn't have a whole lot of game with the ladies, right? He was kind of shy. So what he would do is he'd call girls we went to high school with and he'd move them out to Vegas. So all the hot girls from high school, he'd move them out to Vegas. And they were all ready to get out of their hometown and move to a bigger city. So they'd go to Vegas. He'd move them in. They'd date for about 6 months or so. And before you know it, they'd monkey branch to a higher, more successful man. And, it's just the way it was. So he was using pre-selection to get these girls. He was showing them, look, I live in Vegas. I got all this nice shit. I got a good job. I got good things going for me. And they'd come out and live with him. But again, what are you building that on? It's this fake-ass relationship that's status-driven. When you do that, you're in trouble. Because damn well, as soon as they find a man of higher status, they're out the door. And that's just the way that it goes. So, pick your poison. Again, if you just want a 6-month relationship, a 1-month relationship, a one-night stand, whatever it is, you're a short-term mater, go for it. It's an effective strategy. But even all these manosphere guys that want to talk about pre-selection being this super effective strategy, show me one guy that used pre-selection to stay with a woman for life. Just doesn't happen. Most of the manosphere guys are short-term maters, and that's fine. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, it's just the way it is. Now, suppose I won't ramble on anymore. I'm probably going to start losing my voice. It's a lot colder than it may look to you guys. But I do want to say one last thing, and that is that the women that you attract when you're using pre-selection as your mating strategy, like I said, these are gold diggers and clout chasers. And whether you're a high value man, a gold digger, or a clout chaser, Once the money and the status goes away, what do you have left? What's your life going to amount to? Where are you going to get your thrills from? I'll let you pick your poison. But I've seen it with my own eyes. And it usually either comes down to the weed pipe, the crack pipe, or the piss pipe. I know. It's pitiful. But we've seen it happen time and time again. They all have the same demise. But hey guys, I hope this video was somewhat informative. But that's about it for tonight. Until next time, see ya.